What's going on, YouTube? This is Fish Freak Phil, giving you an update on what's been happening in my reefing world. And as you can see in the Cobalt Aquatics GV40, I have fish in my display tank. They're there a little bit ahead of schedule. Being on part, I had the hardest time keeping nitrates and ammonia and nitrates down in my tank, in the display tank. I don't have my RODI unit, and I was not running a protein skimmer on there. Just several different hang-on back filters with stuff to reduce ammonia, which worked. But the other form of ammonia turns into nitrites and then to finally nitrates. At high levels, those are dangerous to fish, and that's exactly what I encountered. Because the biggest thing was trying to keep the nitrates low in that tank. Now, I don't have a RODI unit, so for me, that requires me to go to my LFS store to get RODI water and then lug it back. And with a tank of 29 gallons, to do any significant change, you need a significant amount of water. That can be a problem. Was handling it for a few weeks, but then with adding more fish to it, obviously as levels rise. I was trying to do that so I can get all my stock into the tank, quarantined, and make sure that they're pest free. Everybody kind of getting along, or kind of at least used to each other before I put them in the display tank. That didn't go too well, as you can see. After about 4 or 5 weeks, I've had to put them. I completely gave up on the quarantine tank. It's just between the 3 tanks, I know my limits. 2 reef tanks and quarantine tank. Obviously, you don't want anything to fall by the wayside. The quarantine tank with no established bacteria in there was a hardship. That after so many weeks, I just couldn't handle it anymore. So unfortunately, I did end up losing 3 fish in the process. My tail spot blenny and 2 flash harasses didn't make it. Luckily for me, my LFS, he had a McCosker and a Carpenter flash harass, and he had them for several weeks. Not all LFS do this, but he dates his fish when he gets them in. He runs them in hyposalinity and copper. It's one of the few places I get my fish. But when I get it from that place, I'm a little more trusting with the stock. I've actually done fairly well getting stuff from him. Anyway, everybody's in the tank. A little bit above ahead of schedule. I noticed a couple of things. My salinity's low, so I'm trying to get that up. I'll be doing with the water I put in there, I'm actually putting it at a higher salinity than 2.3. I'm trying to aim for about 2.3, 2.4. The water I do my water change with is about 2.5. It's a little high, but being that my 7 gallons to 40 gallon is not gonna make that huge of a difference. So I'm doing it slowly over time to hopefully pull that salinity back up slowly over time. With also understanding that it might seem a little high, but I have an auto top off system that goes off. That's putting fresh water into the tank. And it's winter time. My apartment runs a little bit warm, so anytime it's going to be adding water quite a bit in here in these next few months. It just started getting hot, really, because I'm in Western New York, so nah, we get winters, we get summers a little bit later than most y'all, but when it comes with fury, and it's already hitting 80 degrees here, and that means that's great, but the evaporation level, the rates gets kicked up quite a bit. So, you know, battling and trying to keep your apartment cool, the AC and everything, that's okay, but water's still gonna evaporate faster in the summer. That's just what it is. And you know, everything's looking okay, I should say. Move some corals around. I have an Acropora. If you look in the middle there, way in the back, that one right there, that was up there. I moved it back there. It's not doing well here. I had it down here. I just did not like it up there for whatever reason. I think the back side of it, as you can see, was not getting enough light. I had it on there, so try to move it here to try to get more light on there and hopefully have it recover. But being at the edge of the tank, it was the one side of it. Being that it was a large frag that I got, so it just did not acclimate. The light, in terms of lighting, it did not shape well. It was not a good placement for it to begin with, so part of it was kind of dying off. I don't know that I love that frag all that much anyway, but you know, I'm not in I much rather, you know, recover and then get it growing again, and maybe I can trade it in for something more appealing, something more of what I wanted. Kind of one of those, let me try this frags. Turning my attention to the Fluval 13.5. As you can see, that is doing pretty well. I was in there scraping the glass, so things will look kind of better. Now this is orange Montipora setosa. It was almost completely bleached out when I first put it in this tank. It just did not acclimate well to it. I had it in the front area there. Tried moving it. Over time, as you can see, it's coming back. I almost threw it out, but I figured I'd let nature take its course. My rainbow. I always forget the name of this frag here, but and you guys can't see it here, but I thought it was dead, but I left it in there because I could see some of the polyps. This wasn't extended, but towards the base, and unfortunately you can't really pick it up on here. Oh well, yeah. If you look there at the base, you can see some of the red is starting to come back. It's making a comeback. So I'm gonna leave it and see what happens. Now, I did say in my earlier video that I was going to, and I can grab the bottle. Yeah, let's see here. I was going to dose with reflux. I did not dose this tank with reflux, being that I was fighting a couple of things in this tank and I didn't want to fight too many battles on too many fronts. I had low alkalinity, low calcium. My levels were just all whacked, like just crazy. Salinity was low, you know. So I'm doing weekly water changes on this tank as well. Try to raise everything up. I'm also dosing. I got the alkalinity up, dosing, and I tried, you know, just trying some new stuff. Let's see here. You know, dosing with Red Sea, calcium, alkalinity, magnesium. I also got a test, their test kit to be able to test for the stuff as well. Magnesium, you would think that something that we all kind of need to test would be more readily available in all these test kits. Unfortunately, they're not. So I had to go get this Red Sea Foundation Pro kit. Tests for calcium, alkalinity, magnesium. Kind of try to use the same stuff to kind of dose for the same stuff. But yeah, hopefully we'll see what happens. I'm hopeful. I'm very hopeful. My yellow clown goby, he is doing really dope. Like, already go. He's doing really dope. Like, he is all back, looking handsome, healthy. He's never stopped eating, so, but look at that. I really, this was one of my favorite corals. I really would be sad if it goes, if it doesn't make it. But the good thing is, I did take a piece of this frag off of that, and I put it right here. That little frag right there, and it's doing pretty well. I'm gonna leave it there. Hope it grows out, and I can get it looking like this one. But I'm really hoping these colors, like all these, everything comes back. Yeah, made some mistakes. This is basically learning some things, good and bad. But I misdiagnosed the algae that I thought was on the side here. It wasn't Brapsis. I thought it was. I think it's green brush algae. So, take a better look at it. See it all in there. Hasn't been horrible, but, and if you look, there's a, if I can get a good shot of it for you, right in there. See all that? It's between some rocks. I'm going to, in a couple of weeks, I'm going to try to maintain things under water change and see if I can get my nutrient levels down. I also upped the level of blues in my lights for both tanks by 5%. I upped them up, the violets, the dark blues, and the blues, put everything up 5%, and I lowered my green and reds completely down to 0. I didn't want to do that at all for both tanks, but you know, to try to at least, I don't want to, you know, to get closer to sunlight, but doing some videos and learning and doing some reading, I found that a lot of these corals that we like in natural sunlight, they're not as vibrant colors as we see. A lot of them are like coming out of the oceans, like brown and tan. They're not really the vivid colors that you would think that we're seeing in our tanks. You know, I mean, I always thought, honestly, like the colors are probably wilder in the ocean, but apparently that's not the case. It's actually the reverse. Like the lighting that we're putting them under are giving them, or really what's at least they're developing these colors under these lights that we put them under. Anyway, just giving you guys a update on my Seaview Aquatics, Cobalt Aquatics CV40, and my Fluval Evo 13.5. Anyway, do your research, try things out, and see what happens. There you are.